But if you've been brought into the police station, why would you not want to take the breathalyzer?
If you're really drunk, you may face the likelihood of being charged with an aggravated DUI if your blood alcohol content's a 0.18. So if you feel like you drank a lot, you may not want to take it because you want to be charged with that higher crime.
The reasons would be if there's a physical injury at the scene, if there's an accident with physical injury or property damage, that also aggravates the DUI. When you do the breathalyzer in the station, you have a blood alcohol content that's proof positive. That's DWI per se, because the blood alcohol level in your blood is established from the test. So those are the reasons why not to do it. What are the reasons to take the breathalyzer test if you're in the precinct?
Well, if you refuse to take the breath test at the precinct, you'll likely face a 1-year automatic suspension of your license. If you're working and you need to drive around constantly, maybe in your best interest to take the breath test so you don't face an automatic suspension.
So even if you've had 1 or 2 drinks, you may be, or 3 drinks, you may be over the limit, you may still want to take the hit, because this is a result of everybody refusing to take the breathalyzer. So now, there's the criminal aspect as well as the privilege to drive, and what they've done is said basically your privilege to drive is taken away from you. You have the right to remain silent in a criminal investigation, but if you're going to do that, we're not going to let you on our roads.
So after you've been charged, your license is suspended pending prosecution. You can apply for a hardship license right away if you need to go to work, and the only way you can get to work is by operating a vehicle. You make an application to the court, the judge reviews the application, you bring in evidence that supports your claim that if you don't have a vehicle, you're going to experience severe hardship.
And it's really good to have a lawyer present for that hardship hearing, because there's elements that need to be proven to show that you are indeed suffering a hardship by not having a license.
And even if you're denied your hardship license, you can still apply for a pre-conviction conditional license, which is similar. You're allowed to go to and from work, to and from school, get supplies for work, things like that. Usually you have to wait 30 days though from the date that you've been charged, or arraigned rather. So that's an option too. So it's not like you have no obligation or authorization to drive during the case against you.
And for certain, we've learned this from experience, if you have a hardship license, definitely don't keep your nose clean. Don't even speed, don't go through a stop sign, roll through a stop sign, because if you get popped for anything with a conditional license, that's it, or a hardship license, it's gone. What about if you have a prescription for medical marijuana? Is that a defense if you get caught driving under the influence of marijuana?
It's an interesting question. Even though you may have a prescription for medical marijuana, you're still technically operating under a drug. So I don't believe that it is a defense, just if you have a prescription.
Marijuana is still criminalized in New York. There's moves towards decriminalization. Eventually it will be, but it's not going to prevent somebody from getting arrested for driving under the influence. Another important thing is to have an attorney present at the arraignment if possible, so that we can reduce the need for any bail. We also recommend for sure that even if you don't have one for the arraignment, that you get a hardship hearing right away if you're entitled to it, if you didn't refuse. You can ask the cop at the scene, or more likely when you get to the station, if you could get the advice of your counsel. Any other parting words for these guys before we say goodbye?
Just keep in mind that if you are facing a DUI conviction or charge, it's a process through the court system. You'll have opportunities to conference with the people to hopefully reach a resolution that you're comfortable with. It takes time, but we've done it before. Glad to do it with prospective clients moving forward. So.